I'm an associate professor at the University of Massachusetts-Lowell in the Department of Psychology, and I coordinate our Master of Science in Applied Behavior Analysis and Autism Studies program, and have been working with Claudia for a little over a couple years now, I think, is when we met, and are really excited to be recruiting our second cohort of scholars for this collaboration between the two institutions. Thank you for joining us.
You. Wonderful. So what Rocio said is exactly what we've been working on, which is we decided 2 years ago to submit a grant for interdisciplinary training of special education teachers and and educators working as behavior analysts or BCBAs in schools. So that we could better serve population of students in our schools that have autism or behavioral challenges and are served under special education. So today we'll share about this opportunity. Grant was funded by the U.S. Department of Education under the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services. And before we continue, would it be okay if I ask everybody to just mute themselves so that we could hear everybody could hear the information? So thank you. So I'll share a few screens to kind of tell you a little bit more about the program, and Rocio and I will go one by one, kind of sharing about each individual program. So give me 1 second. Let me get these going. So the application that we submitted to the U.S. Department of Education, again, was to fund a master's in science and applied behavior analysis on autism, or a master's of education in moderate disabilities with initial licensure in the state of Massachusetts from grades pre-K to 8th grade. And the highlight of this program, again, is the interdisciplinary nature of what we're doing. And that is, again, having the special education teacher, pre-service teacher with the BCBA trainee to work together to address the needs of children with special education needs, particularly behavioral and challenges and autism spectrum disorders, to collaborate and work better for the benefit of our students. Rocio, would you like to take the agenda?
Yeah, sure. So we just want to share the main items that we're going to be covering today. We're going to talk about the goals and objectives of the project, give you a little bit more description. If some of you have already visited our websites, our respective websites, we have lots of information on the website, but we'll talk a little bit more and highlight some of the features of the project now. And then finally, we'll talk about the application and enrollment. And I do want to just make a note that, you know, again, the project or the program is funded by the U.S. Department of Education. So this webinar was developed under this grant, but it shouldn't represent, or it does not represent, the views of the U.S. Department of Education. It's important for us to say that.
Required.
Required, yes.
So again, on the project team, we have Professor Rocio Rosales from University of Massachusetts-Lowell and myself from Lasell, like I said, and we have another couple of colleagues, Dr. Rubai Warunga, who is in the University of Massachusetts-Lowell, and also Robin Toof, who's our evaluator of this grant that we received to prepare educators. We also have some information that is specific to each program as we move forward in this slide. So Rocio and I will split it so that you could get more information of what each of the different master programs provide. Again, there's 2 master programs and scholarships on both programs. And the goal is, or the hallmark of the program is that we are both, Rocio and I and Robai, are working together to prepare educators to have that interdisciplinary training. So I'll pass it back to you, Rocio.
So just to give you a brief overview about what this program is about and why it's important, many of you may already be working with children with disabilities, including children with autism spectrum disorders, and you know the statistics. I think they've actually changed since the last time we revised these slides, and it might be 1 in 44 now. So this is a population of students who we're seeing more of in public schools and in different settings that we're working with. Yet we also know that there's a critical shortage of highly trained personnel to meet the educational needs of this population. And I think the most important thing, as Claudia has mentioned, is that we're really looking at how we can train professionals, not only in their specific set of expertise to become professional behavior analysts and special educators, but that they're working and learning how to work together for the benefit of the students that they're interacting with every day and their families. Not a lot of programs offer. I know that I can speak personally for my own graduate training. You know, I didn't explicitly get training in how to work collaboratively with other professionals. I think it was always something that was alluded as something being important, but we didn't get explicit training on how to actually do it. So, but that's one of the main goals of this program. The other thing that we know based on statistics with the different professions that we're interacting with is that there are a number of families, a growing number of families that are raising children with autism and disabilities in bilingual and multilingual homes. And the demographics for the professionals that are working with them really don't match up. So another part of this program explicitly is to look to recruit a workforce that can help to match the population that we're working with more and more. So I can talk a little bit about the project goals and then tell you more specifically about the master's program in applied behavior analysis and autism studies here at UMass-Lowell. Already kind of mentioned this, but I'll say it again. The one of the main goals is that we're looking at training professionals in interdisciplinary collaboration. So it's a combination of both BCBA and SPED teacher expertise. You're only getting one degree, so it's not a dual degree program. You're going to be either enrolled in the master's program at UMass-Lowell or the master's program at Lasell, but you're going to be working and interacting with colleagues in a cohort model who are in the other program. So if you're a UMass-Lowell student, you're going to be in a class or multiple classes with graduate students who are pursuing a master's degree in special education and vice versa. In addition to that, we're looking at collaborative practices out in the fieldwork. So both programs have a requirement to do some level of supervised fieldwork experience. It's a little bit different for each program, but in both programs, we're looking for scholars who are really interested in learning about how to work collaboratively with somebody who's not who's not pursuing the same credential profession as you are. And by doing this, you know, again, we're looking at increasing that competence and utilization of those interdisciplinary skills. It's also going to be, we hope that there's going to be a higher likelihood that by learning about what each other is doing and really learning that we are here to learn from each other, that we're going to be able to refer students to professionals outside of our own discipline when needed. There is a focus on serving bilingual learners with disabilities. So if you're a UMass-Lowell student pursuing this option, you're going to have the opportunity to also pursue a certificate that's specifically focused on working with children with disabilities who are being raised in a bilingual or multilingual home. And this is a certificate that was developed by Dr. Rinaldi. And we're just so fortunate to be able to have this expertise at our fingertips and for students to be able to gain this knowledge while they're in the program. Another thing that we're doing with the program is that we really are emphasizing a mentorship model. So not only providing good supervision through our affiliated sites, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in later slides, but we're also looking to connect students in this program with mentors who have been in the field for at least several years so that we're growing a network of so that they can grow their professional network even before they leave the program. So for example, our first cohort of students who just started in the fall, they're in their second semester, are going to be matched up with mentors starting this summer, and that'll be a relationship that will be continued throughout the time that that they're in their profession, we hope.
Sorry, my fingers are very, very gently pushing all the slides very differently. So as you can see here, we have two separate programs, as Rocio stated. You either enroll or apply to be in the MS and Applied Behavior Analysis on Autism at UMass, or you're involved in a Master's of Education in Special Education, Moderate Disabilities, but you will take classes in the opposing university. So the UMass-Lowell students will take our certificate and a couple classes in special education, and our students at Lasell in the special education program, Moderate Disabilities, will take classes about applied behavior analysis, thereby, providing both sets of educators more information on particular areas of disability that we're seeing mostly in schools today. At the end of the programs, we have several competencies that we want our students to have and take into the field, such as exhibiting deep knowledge of the respective discipline, whether it is autism, behavior analysis, or moderate disabilities. Those demonstrated skills that you would learn in interdisciplinary training, developing a comprehensive approach that delivers the values and focuses on culture responsive practices, and that it's exhibiting culture responsive evaluation, intervention, and IEP support plan. And then also demonstrate sensitivity to the impact of disability on families. So for example, in that particular competency this semester, our students who meet once a month from both programs with all of us have heard from families of students who have autism. They've also heard from providers that support families in their advocacy work with schools and the community, and they'll hear from other professionals and adults with both special education needs and autism spectrum disorder to see the lifespan impact of what we need to do to make successful for these individuals starting in the K-12. And then the last aspect of this competency is that you'll be designing a capstone project under the supervision of a faculty mentor that will deal with exactly these areas and how to become a leader in your field. And we're really excited about those. The program takes about roughly 2 to 2.5 years to complete in each of the programs, depending on what you bring. That may change a little bit. But the program for UMass-Lowell, I'll let Rocio continue, does provide you with some certification, and then I'll share what the Lasell University MED program provides you in terms of licensure. So I'll pass it back to you.
So if you're interested in pursuing the master's in ABA and autism studies at UMass-Lowell, you would leave the program with a master's degree and then all of the requirements to be eligible to sit for the national certification exam to become a board certified behavior analyst. In addition to that, you would be eligible to be licensed as a licensed applied behavior analyst, or LABA is the acronym, in the state of Massachusetts. So it is important to note that licensure is different from certification. Some of you may know that already, but sometimes we get students who are even if you're just one state north of us in New Hampshire, the licensure requirements are actually, I don't think that there is a license yet. It's in the works. So you are not required to be licensed to practice in New Hampshire. But all of our students, because they're doing field work, supervised field work in the state of Massachusetts, or even if they are in New Hampshire, we require supervisors to be licensed in Massachusetts. And the reason for that is that if you are planning to stay and work in Massachusetts, you will be required to both have the certification and the license. Now, the certification is a national certification. So if you were to move to a different state and into Canada, that certification goes with you. And you don't have to, you have to continue maintaining continuing education units, but you don't have to recertify.
Wonderful.
And then this next slide just tells you, highlights the courses that you would be required to complete. So our program at UMass-Lowell is a hybrid program. And that means that some of our courses are fully online and asynchronous and are only offered online and asynchronous. And some of our courses do require you to come to campus in Lowell. So if you look at this table, the courses that have a little computer icon by them are the courses that are offered fully online, asynchronous. Our courses are 13 to 14 weeks, including summer. And if there's no computer icon by it, then it means that it's an on-campus course and it's only offered on campus. The exception here is there's a couple courses actually that I'm noticing, 5810 and 5830, the foundation courses that are also offered online, if that's something that's of interest. And then the courses highlighted in yellow are the courses that you would be completing that are unique to the UML-LIPP option. So you can see that the two courses for electives are courses that are at Lasell University. And again, those courses are hybrid. So there is an on-campus requirement there, but it's only for a couple meetings or 2 to 3 meetings each semester. And then all the certificate courses, there's a total of 4, and those are 1.5 credits each. So for a total of 6 credits. And those are offered at different times, fully online and asynchronous for those classes. Finally, the 5901 class is one that all of the students, both Lasell and UMass-Lowell students, will be in together. That class meets once a month. It's a virtual Zoom meeting where we're all, it's really a nice opportunity for us to come together as a group. So both Claudia, myself, Robai, Marunga, who's our colleague at UMass-Lowell, who's also involved with this grant, and the students that are involved in this program, both Lasell and UMass-Lowell, come together once a month to discuss a variety of different topics. And it's really a great opportunity to build those collaboration skills, to learn from each other. And, you know, I've just had such a wonderful experience so far over the last semester, and really looking forward to our next several meetings. So I think
Thank you, Lucia. So for the Masters of Education in moderate disabilities with initial licensure, the licensure is from pre-K to 8th grade, and that is again the program at Lasell. The master's program provides all the necessary requirements to apply for initial licensure, including a full service supervised full practicum in a public school program. And you also get a program supervisor and a supervising practitioner as part of that process, as the state requires. The courses are also here and kind of set up in the same way that Rocio presented hers at UMass-Lowell. We are adding more online options, but our courses are, for the majority of courses, 8 weeks long, so it's very different. And that allows you to take 2 or 3 courses per semester, but not 3 courses at the same time or 2 courses at the same time. So, you know, for example, this semester we have a January to March course and then a March to May course. And you could take multiple courses in there depending on the speed of which you want to finish the program. But the closest are there. We do have the summer programs, and the Psych 5901, again, is that shared program, which is a hallmark of this program, where you're sitting with both the Lowell students and the Lasell students and the faculty, really as a seminar style, kind of a doctoral level seminar style, where we're really talking and learning together about how to do interdisciplinary work to support this population. 9 courses that you see at the bottom highlighted are the 9 credits, 3 courses, the ones that you would take at UMass-Lowell, and those are, I think, fully online, all of them. So, you know, this allows you to kind of think about the 8 weeks courses meets 3 times and 5 weeks are online. And then we do have courses that are fully online with the little computer icon. So you don't have to go to class every week. Typically for our 8-week classes on this section, they meet beginning, middle, and end of those 8-week sessions. So week 1, week 4, and week 7 or 8. And the rest of the time you're asynchronous, or, you know, depending on how they're delivering that day. Again, It's been really exciting to see our students do the cross university as we're having 8 students who are in the process of doing those the courses this year. And again, the information for this webinar is for our cohort 2. There'll be a total of 3 cohorts. So if for whatever reason you're looking ahead, we will have this cohort starting in fall 2023, and we'll have our final cohort beginning in fall 2025. I want to just stop for a minute and see if there's any questions. And also, if you could please email me. If you did not register tonight, but you got through us through LinkedIn or our university web pages, if you want this recording or slides to be sent to you, can you please make sure that you could send me a direct message or post your email on the chat, and I will add my email as I speak right now. Again, if you want copies of this so you could look at it later and ask questions, that's what Rocio and I are available for either program. And so, you know, it allows you to kind of take a little bit of a second look on your own and then ask questions. Laura does have a question so far, so I'll answer that. What is the typical amount of per week spent on campus in Lowell? So I'll let Rocio respond that, and the program is designed for working professionals. So we do value and you know, love that we get students who are working in the field already, whether it's as a paraprofessional or a behavior support person or an aide in a classroom. You know, this is something that we value in the application process. This page that you see here are our partners that we work with. Some are Boston Public Schools, Newton Public Schools, Needham, wherever our students are. And if not, we find you a placement for your full practicum in the Masters of Education program. And the others are programs that are affiliated with Applied Behavior Analysis and Meeting the Needs of Children with Autism Spectrum Disorder. So we have a lot of partners that are very interested not only in following graduates of this program, but also providing opportunities and internships for it.
Claudia, can I just
add
something? So when you were talking about the additional courses at UMass-Lowell, I do want to highlight and reiterate that if you're interested in the Lasell program, you're going to have the opportunity to take 9 additional credits at UMass-Lowell that would go toward a certificate in applied behavior analysis. It's not the complete certificate, but it is, those credits would be transferred in if you wanted to continue to pursue that certification. And that certificate is a 21 credit certificate. So you would need some additional credit hours to complete. And then the question about the how much time to spend, I wanted to answer that live because I just wanted to, I wasn't sure if this was somebody who's interested in the Lasell program. If you're interested in the Lasell program, those classes that you would be required to take from UMass-Lowell are fully online and asynchronous, so you wouldn't have an on-campus requirement. If you're interested in the UMass-Lowell program, classes are usually once or twice a week, mostly once, and they're offered in the late afternoon or early evening hours.
Thanks, Rocio. And I should also say that the Lasell classes, the days that are on campus, those 3 times out of the 8-week sessions, they're from 6:30 to 9 p.m. Although we are trying out some different delivery methods as we move forward and continue developing our program. For example, we've had some classes that are meeting every other week for 1 hour or every week for 1 hour, but it's fully online. So as we continue to develop the programs and really meet what students are really asking for in the field, one of the things that they do ask is connection to the faculty. So seeing us in one way or another, whether there's a person-to-person or synchronously, I think that's really important. And then to address the idea of the importance of the certificates, whether it be the bilingual special education certificate or the behavior analysis certificate that Rocio just mentioned, one of the aspects of this program is that it makes you more marketable, particularly when you bring the autism experience and expertise, because principals are looking for people with multiple kinds of training, and with the increased number of children with autism in more severe and less restrictive settings. They want people who could be, who have experience in kind of meeting different placements in school, within the school days. So let's move to the application requirements, and then I'll look back to see if there's a couple other questions. You do have to have a bachelor's degree or an equivalent from accredited college or university. Your GPA must be a 3.0. We do ask for 2 letters of recommendation, at least one from a recent or current instructor. Your resume or curriculum vitae, a 1 to 2 page statement describing your background, careers, strengths, interests in the program, and the funding opportunity, and how do you see yourself being a good fit for our program. We want people who are really collaborative, that are representative of our communities, and that want that interdisciplinary and value that interdisciplinary preparation. And we will have interviews during the summer. So all the application deadlines are coming up in a different slide. But we really want to make sure that we pick through all these components and pick somebody who would be an asset to the field and to the group of students entering the program. The funding package is only available for citizens or residents of the United States because it is federally funded. So I do want to make sure that you know that ahead of time. In addition to the coursework, so all your master's in either school is fully paid for, there is also a $2,000 travel fund to allow you to attend professional meetings or conferences. And it also covers $800 for books and related materials that are part of your course completion activities. So this is kind of like a really great opportunity for you to kind of know that it covers, you know, professional activities, but also the books and related materials. Funding requirement, there is some funding requirements from the Department of Education, which are really important for you to know ahead of time. One is that you have to maintain a 3.0 minimum GPA. That's a B. Usually that's never really a problem unless you really don't show up to classes. Usually people invested in these programs, you know, are easy students who are easy in studying and committing to the program. So we usually just kind of a minimum requirement disclosure here. The funding package is provided with a service requirement that is double what you get in terms of the funding. So for example, if it takes you 2 years to complete the program, the U.S. Department of Education wants you to work in the field for 4 years in the field with working with children with autism or related disabilities. So what did this mean? This means, again, you register with the Department of Education, they follow your work, and you respond every year just saying where you're working. If you plan to be in education, if you've been in education, this is not a big deal. And there are many variety of ways to meet the service requirement when you're working with children with disabilities. There are several required documents that are also required. There's a pre-scholarship agreement and an exit certification to facilitate employment verification from the Department of Education. And there's also the matriculation into the courses that is required for each program. So when you're a UMass-Lowell student, registering for those courses that you have to take at UMass, at Lasell, there is a process and a requirement to fill out some paperwork so that we could do that. And the same goes back the opposite direction from Lasell to UMass-Lowell. So let's go back to some questions and see. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, I'm going to share my screen for a little bit. I also want to add the names of 2 of our program managers who really help us to answer questions and get you involved with any aspect of the program. I'm sorry, I'm going to go through this quickly because I want you to see their names. So at UMass-Lowell, Beatrice works with Rocio as a program manager, and she has all the information that you need, whether it's about a program or how it coordinates with Lasell and meeting times and uploading of materials and things. On the Lasell side, we have Edna Barreto, who is also here in the call today. who is my program manager, and she works to help make sure all the students know that they have the $800 for the books, that if there's conferences coming up that we're providing information, and they both work together so that all the students who receive the scholarship are taken care of in all those kind of discrete needs. Our emails are also here for Rocio and I. Again, if you have questions, feel free to email us. I do want to ask Rocio to just confirm the date that the application is due is
June 1st.
June 1st. I didn't want to mess up. So June 1st is the day that the application will be due, and you will find out whether you're a recipient of the scholarship by
I think we said it July 1st. Yes.
July 1st. So again, the applications are due June 1st, and the awards will be latest by July 1st. What we're hoping to do is by June 1st, have all the candidates that we want to interview in the first couple of weeks in June, and then make our decision as to the 8 scholarships at each institution by July 1st. So I'll open it to questions and see if anybody has any.
I think there were some questions that came up in the chat, and I think we've answered them. But if we missed any, please let us know.
Great. So we've got some emails that are asking for the slides, so we'll be sure to send that tomorrow after with the link to the recording as well. And I'm scrolling through the questions, so give me one more second.
Yeah, I saw a hand go up. You can go ahead and ask your question.
Sorry. Go ahead.
I think I saw Deanna, and then yes, of course, if others have questions, we can also call on them and you can unmute.
Yeah, I was wondering if there was something also due in May, or if that was a typo. I thought I saw it in the original email.
It might have been a typo. So Deanna, we'll keep applications open through June 1st.
I saw
Sarah?
that as well. I saw that as well, Deanna. And I just read it again. Its applications will begin on May 1st. So I think that they will start accepting them on May 1st,
Okay.
is how I'm understanding that.
Yeah, so I would encourage anyone who's interested in either program, if you know that you're definitely looking to apply, you can start your application process at any time. And even if you don't have all of your materials ready, so we do ask for a letter of interest or a personal statement, we ask for letters of recommendation, but you can start your application and then save your progress so that ideally that you can get everything in, or that you will have everything in at the latest by June 1st, because that is the day that we will be reviewing and quickly then selecting who we want to interview, and then making our decisions. So start as soon as you can.
And at each institution, you'll be assigned like a graduate admissions person. At Lasell, if you look at Candace in the pictures, Candace Obratsko, she is the person at Lasell who you will communicate. So as soon as, actually the email will probably go for the recording, and the slides will probably come from her, and or Edna, who's right above in my pictures. He's the person with another picture on the face and the Zoom box. Those would be the 2 people they here for, and they'll help you answer any questions about your application. So, you know, Candace is great at saying, look, we got these 3 things, but don't forget your transcripts, or forget your application essay, or we got everything, you're ready, set, it's in the folder, and I'll move with the project directors. Sarah, you also had a question about are both programs or only one 8 weeks. So the Lasell program is the only one that offers 8-week courses. The UMass-Lowell has traditional 14-week semesters, 14 or 15 weeks. The Lasell courses, 3/4 of them are 8 weeks. We do have our research, the last 2 research courses are 14 weeks, and the CAP, which is the full practicum, is 14 weeks as well. The rest of it is all 8-week courses.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the Lasell, the BCBA program, I have that correct, I think. Is that kind of aligned for working professionals, or is that more so something that you would need to take time off of work to do it as like a full-time student.
Are you asking about the UMass-Lowell program, Sarah? The one that would lead to BCBA certification?
Yes, sorry, I thought
Okay,
that was the
yeah.
Lasell program.
No, so that's, yeah, that's the UMass-Lowell.
Okay.
And so it is, I mean, so I would say that all of our students are working, many of them are working full-time. Our classes are sometimes starting at 3:30 in the afternoon. So I guess it just depends on where you're working. We also do require students to become employed at one of our affiliated sites. So that's something else that we would need to take into consideration. And I'm happy to connect with you, one-on-one to kind of navigate what that would look like and talk a little bit more in detail about where you're working now. And, if you're interested, kind of give you more background on what our affiliate sites look like and why we require that.
Awesome, thanks.
Laura, you asked about the funding. So the funding is the full master's program in both institutions, whichever one you pick, you only pick one, is fully funded for all your courses. It also funds $2,000 for professional travel to conferences and $800 of course materials and/or MTELs. Okay. Candace reminded me to speak about MTIL. So MTIL is a requirement in the Lasell Masters in Moderate Disabilities program. And we could talk to you a little bit more about which are those MTILs and at what points during the program these are required. So if you wanted more information about that, we could definitely send you that. There are 8 spots, 4 for each institution. So UMass-Lowell will have 4 spots for their BCBA program. Lasell will have 4 spots for their MED and Moderate Disabilities program. And then next year in the fall 2025 will be the last date for a total of 24 individuals who have gone through this program and this funding cycle. And you could certainly reapply if you didn't make it first time. Any other questions?
So yes, I think there's a follow-up there. The reapplication would be around the same time. So for fall of 2025, we'll be likely having an application deadline in June of 2024.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So, I think Jamara has a question. Jasmara?
No, sorry. I just wanted to say thank you guys so much. I really appreciate the work you guys are doing behind the scenes and up front. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And if you know of anybody who might be interested, please send them the information. Feel free to share. And we look forward to your applications if this was the right fit for you. And again, you're going to have lots of emails to ask lots of questions, and we certainly want to meet you and get to know you. So thank you for your time tonight. And we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here. And thank you for your comment, Deanna, about the grant writing process. Yes.
I mean, it's great. You must have had a great vision, I mean, it doesn't, not just the work, but the vision and the motivation. So.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thanks,
And we're
Deanna.
just so excited to have our first cohort of students and really looking forward to recruit this next cohort and one more. And I mean, who knows, maybe we'll have more, but for now we have the funding for the next 2 years.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing your applications.
Have a great week.
I'm gonna
Thank
stop
you.
recording
Stay
for now.
warm.
You too.